Welcome back to another fantastic episode of, there we go, we'll do it that way, The Maturity Project. I'm your host, Sir Chad Everett Broshears to some, or Chad Everett Broshears to most. Now, today what I want to talk about is, when we have goals, we set things out, and I talk about this often, actually, almost all the time, but it's most of the time when I am speaking to somebody, it's more about specifically what they want, they need thereafter, but my curiosity makes it into a conversation versus a investigation or interrogation, if you will, because I don't intend for that. I'm very, very curious about what people are up to. It's just satisfying to be able to see what moves they've made, who they were, what their lessons were per each step of their life that really had that impactful milestone value in hindsight. So what I've realized is that we get into these different goals, right? We have something that we want to do. So let's say something easy like going to work and getting a promotion. Well, your plan is to be able to get a promotion, but how do you do that? And with the work situation is owners of businesses or managers who will have the ability to give the promotion, they have to find the best fit for the position because that person is a reflection of their ability to make decisions and their ability to support the company for its deeper dynamic needs. So it's not about the favoritism of, I just like the way this person looks or whatever. You have, when you're dealing with a good, mature manager, they're looking for specific things that are you could show the ability to be good at. And the better if you've had a position that's similar to where you're wanting to be promoted to, or a more advanced version of what you're already doing excellent at. That's what they're looking for typically, is trying to find somebody who's best suited for that position. So as you get promoted, let's say in the scenario you are that person, you get promoted, everything you know about the promotion you're good at, or you're at least proficient enough to show that you are the right person. But then there's the parts of that position that you're unaware of. It's the shadow, if you will, of what is there. It's a complete vacancy because you don't foresee there be more when you get into that position. But the reality is there is more to it. There's more required. You might be over other people. And prior to that, you were over enough people that gave you the idea that you're capable of managing others because you're with people that resonated better with you, with specific traits that are associated very close to yours, if not then the same, which makes the workflow more effectively, so long as you don't have other disruptors. Like humor can be a disruptor, especially if it's a strong attribute to that person's personality. Then, but it could be a lighthearted interruption that actually builds morale, so long as they don't over leverage it to the point that they lose all seriousness. So you have those individuals that you have worked with in the past and showed up like a leader for, but you don't have the conflict of other personalities that don't work with yours. Or it was to you prior to this, that person was something that you could just isolate from versus being responsible for. Now in that promoted position, if that person works under you, you're responsible for them. It's no longer somebody that you can avoid. Now you need to be able to develop them properly and all of this. You have to get into things that you're not as familiar with. You might be able to bridge this based off your previous experiences, but that does not mean that you now can actually guarantee that you have the ability to manage that individual. Well, what about other variables, the things that you're familiar with? Let's say this position had something to do with accounting, and you were good at ledgers. You were great at just keeping general finance down, better than potentially your predecessor, but does not mean that you're excellent at it. You've just convinced yourself that you are excellent at it because of the experience that you had while being in that position of keeping the books. But then you get moved into something that has to do with regulations. It goes into things like going from an accountant to a controller, which is a position we're currently looking to hire here with the company I'm with. But you have to be able to deal with that kind of situation where you now have regulations you're responsible for, more so than just your certifications and then the basics of regulations like the IRS, things like that. But now you've got to deal with other things that have to do with the company. You have to be able to guide the company in these things, and you may not have had any awareness of that requirement. or awareness of creative finance, which is looking for different ways to generate more money, working closely with like salesperson or something like that, or the sales manager or sales VIP, or I'm sorry, yeah, vice president. Could be those things. Now, this is the work example. Some people say, be careful because your mouth is writing checks, your ass can't cash. You know, it's kind of like that, but here's the thing. If you take the opportunity for growth and you constantly look at growth as an opportunity, then it doesn't matter. You get into the ring, you get your butt kicked, but the goal is to get better. And every single day you want to get better to the capacity that you're capable of tolerating. And some of us, and most of us, like for myself as an example, is 1% is my goal every day. 1% better than I was the previous day. So that's always my goal, actually. So I'm not trying to take a bite off too much. Gun speed. I'm not trying to bite off too much that I can't handle when it comes to writing these checks. But I also want to make sure that I challenge myself enough that I learn a lesson out of it. So that's actually my standard. My default is to constantly learn from whatever the challenges are in the environment. Let's look at it. Let's take another example for into consideration here is that we'll go with a personal relationship thing. You get into situations where, not personal relationships of like the sense of relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, but just in, say, opportunities in life. And you meet somebody that has a pretty decent degree of influence or power, if you will, and they take a liking to you. You have demonstrated a specific degree of skill sets that built enough rapport that they see you to be ideal for certain circumstances, and they confide in you to test a little bit more to see, exactly how well situated and suited you are for this particular situation. And then perhaps they tell you that now you actually, they want your help with something. Now, you can completely destroy this relationship simply by agreeing to helping them to the point that they leverage on you in an area that you're inefficient, and you don't tell them. You don't tell them that you're new at this. You don't tell them that you're doing this, because that helps them position their consideration of your advice and insight to the point of where it truly belongs, versus like you're the world expert, right? Let's say if it's for investing, would you rather take advice from me on investing, or would you take it from Warren Buffett? I would encourage you to look at Warren Buffett, because I am not going to be the person to give you solid investing advice. I'm not going to do it anyway, period. But anyway, as an example. So this person's relying on you, and you don't declare it. So they bring you into their inner circle without giving them that depth of understanding of your abilities, and that you genuinely and with all absolute earnest, you are intending to develop this area. You feel that it is something that you can develop, but the timeline that's necessary for a stable decision or a stable support is outside of when they actually need your help. So you still volunteer yours because it feels great to be recognized, especially where you didn't know you were being seen. And you can get drunk on that, if you will. You can get that to the point that you are really, you're taken by it. Emotionally, you are shifted from being fully responsible to the excitement of also ignorance. I'm sure that you're not fully aware in this scenario, and you probably wouldn't be aware fully in the scenario that where you're going to tread now in the influence of others is greater than you've ever had to do before, and greater measured by the cost of the decision and the urgency of that decision and the response of that timeline. So you're not aware of it, that you don't have enough time because you don't know this. The best way to deal with that is to make the declaration of your limits, what you know, and the declaration of where you're going to grow. So by doing this, you gain great respect from them because you're just really honest, which honesty is typically sought out, especially in relationships, especially, well, in all relationships, we prefer that. Or at least it's a preference for the majority of people. We're in a society that encourages us to be honest. But yet, anyway, seems to encourage us to be dishonest. But we still hold the moral values that we like to teach children, so that hopefully they they take the better attributes of us. But anyway, all right, so we're back to this. What it does is it tells the other person that needs the influence, that is of great influence, that you have certain limitations, but you're genuinely interested in developing it. They're more likely to bring you closer to their circle and to help you foster that that ability. They've noticed something in you already. But if you want to write a check your canary ass can't, alligator mouth writes a check that your canary ass can't deliver, then don't say anything to them and see what happens to that situation and that relationship. If you're aware and you do nothing, you're responsible. If you're unaware and you do nothing, you're not really responsible. You have responsibility to some degree, but you've eliminated it by not taking action. So your culpability and your responsibility is lessened significantly versus getting into something with absolute ignorance. But be aware enough of your ignorance that you actually pull through and don't deliver on it, then that creates a problem for this person. So, all right. So with that, we should be writing, checks that we have a challenge to. I don't mean this in the financial world, by the way. I'm not telling you to forge checks or write bad checks or bounce them or whatever. I'm talking about it in the developmental side of it, where we can give, opportunities where we are less efficient and put our efforts into those places. It's good because it challenges your current skill sets and lets you understand where you become comfortable with those skill sets. They need to grow, they need to develop. A lot of people are not chosen because of nepotism, favoritism, that kind of thing. They're chosen because they have the skill sets necessary for the challenge that's in front of whomever is making the decision. Demonstrate your abilities and you will go further. So you'll go further because those are your skills for life when you master them. It's not about what you're doing for somebody else as much as it is do it for yourself. Develop for yourself. Show people how to develop. Don't tell people or give them the result. Help them understand how to develop. That's the ideal direction. And this is something that we're missing because this is what good parents do. This is what great mentors do. They develop others by having them take on their lessons, but give them enough guidance that they can use tools to deal with the lesson. That is an incredibly ideal direction to do things. It's like they say in the Bible to give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for life. Same concept with this. You're just teaching people how to develop themselves. Give them the gift of ability, as it will go through their future significantly further than the timeline of your support. Because your support actually doesn't stop at that point. You've helped them become something different. So look for this. When I say life isn't fair, and be grateful for that fact, because life will eventually turn in your favor where other people say it isn't fair. And you'll be able to relish in the opportunity because you've developed yourself to be the best person available at that time to be able to take on the challenge and effectively overcome it. All right, till next time, I am your host, Chad Everett Broshears, or Sir Chad Everett Broshears to some. And this is the Maturity Project. Please keep in mind, the channel does need some attention. I'm going to continue, and I am continuing to develop more and more and learn from each one of these videos, the necessary aspects to help make it better, and to get to the point of making a better difference, a bigger difference in life for people. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Share the video with whomever in your life you'd like to start a conversation with. Listen to this as often as you like as well, to help just give you positions and places to just look from. My thing is to create and stoke curiosity, because curiosity creates opportunities. So share the video, comment in the comment section, let me know how things are going, or if you have questions, or if you'd like to actually show up on the show at some point in time, by all means, comment. But again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, I'm going to let you go, but here's the thing. Remember, there's a world that we need to actually develop and to really address it. But we've got to address ourselves first. Otherwise, what the hell are you even doing? So, all right, till next time. We'll catch you then. See ya.